Howdy, folks. This is Tony here, urging you strongly to reject passage of the Screen Act, as seen here, submitted by Senator Mike Lee from Utah. Now, this bill is couched as something that is supposed to protect children from viewing objectionable content online, and that's a good cause. That is something that I strongly support. Children should have a right to a childhood. But this bill is not the way to do that. There already exists technology to help parents protect their children from restricted and unfavorable content, and that's through parental control software. Here's a website that shows an example of that kind of thing. It already exists. We don't need a new law for this. Or even if you were to buy your kids a Chromebook, Google has certain built-in controls that allow you to monitor what your child is watching and make sure that they cannot access any questionable, objectionable, or horrible for your childhood websites. So there's no need for this law. This law is redundant. It's up to parents to make the right choice and give their children a childhood that is free of inappropriate content and shape their child's moral consciousness already. You don't need a law to do that. But I'd go a step beyond and say, not only is this law unnecessary, it's also unconstitutional because it infringes on privacy and it infringes on free speech. And I'll tell you why. Look at the bill here. It says to require certain interactive computer services to adopt and operate technology verification measures to ensure that users of the platform are not minors and for other purposes. Now, whenever you see this "and for other purposes" here, be very careful because we may run into some violations of the powers not enumerated clause of the Constitution simply because of the fact that when you say "for other purposes," you are allowing Congress to basically expand this infinitely into the future for any other unspecified reason, when the Constitution is clear that powers not enumerated to the states or to the federal government are reserved for the people. So the Constitution does not allow Congress carte blanche authority to expand its powers. But I will go beyond that. How are you going to verify age without collecting government-issued IDs? Now, when you do that, that violates the First Amendment in the sense that it is compelled speech. If I were to put a comment on a YouTube platform, if I wrote "Let's Go Brandon," or if I wrote "Stop Trump," or, I'm not taking a particular side on the political scale here. I'm just saying if anyone on the left or the right were to make a comment online, would you then require that person to say, "Oh, by the way, my name is Billy Thompson. I live at 123 Main Street in Anytown, USA, and I approve this message"? No, you wouldn't. That'd be ridiculous. That'd be absurd. That's essentially what this bill does. If you are required to state your address, your driver's license number, give all sorts of biometric or biological information or vital information online, that's compelled speech. You're required to fully identify yourself. What are we going to do next? Are we going to require authors who write books under pseudonyms to then state what their real name is right after the pseudonym? Obviously, this is a ridiculous form of compelled speech, and it can be weaponized to quell dissent. And that swings both ways. If you have a Republican in the federal government, whether it's the White House or the Senate or the Congress or what have you, and Democrats are making anti-Republican comments online, now that they must identify themselves, that creates an intimidation factor. But also, if you're a conservative and a Biden-type president's in the White House and you put "Let's Go Brandon," you no longer can do that anonymously, and you can expect a visit from the Department of Justice on your doorstep because you're removing the ability to speak anonymously on the internet. That's not the way to do it. You don't compel speech like this. Now, another problem is, who are you sharing your state identification information with? You're sharing it with third-party entities. How many data breaches have we had in the last 90 days? Or even the last couple of years? And you know that cyber terrorism is a thing, so if you're creating extra repositories where people's personal information is out there, you know it's going to be either stolen or sold or egregiously collected by intelligence agencies and direct violation of the Fourth Amendment. So the First, possibly 10th, and definitely Fourth Amendment are under direct assault by this bill, and that is why I'm urging you vehemently to resist it. Finally, this is not the Republican conservative way of doing things. Republicans tend to try, at least, to to respect individual choice, individual freedom. If that's the case, why do we need a bill requiring something? Simply do the opposite. Republicans like to couch themselves as the party of low taxes. Fine. Why not offer tax credits to parents that use parental controls? Or why not offer tax credits to companies that provide free parental controls and URL filters to their subscribers? For example, if you had a company like Cox or Comcast or whoever, Verizon, whoever you get your internet service providing from, if that ISP provides free to use, easy to navigate parental controls, offer that company tax credits. That would incentivize them to spread this and protect children without taking these draconian measures that if a Democrat were in the White House and wanted to use this, it would really crush Republicans. So whenever you write a bill, you have to consider, if the other side were in power, how could this be used against me? That's an important consideration. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Call and write your senators. Urge them to reject this bill. Call Mike Lee and urge him to come to his senses and to drop this bill. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have a great day.